Hi, Brian here for PianoLessonsAdvice.com. And you've reached lesson number 5. Congratulations. We're going to talk about chords today. And if you've got this far through all the lessons, you have a pretty good knowledge, basic knowledge of music theory as it relates to the piano and, of course, as it relates to music in general. And this is a good foundation for you to build on as we go into the advanced lessons where we're really going to start actually playing the piano. We're going to start putting things together, and you're going to see how things work a lot better. And the fact that we've sort of tuned your brain before we've done anything else is going to help you in the long run as you learn music. And you'll see how that pays off very soon. Okay? Because it's always good to know what you're doing prior to when you're doing it. And that's true pretty much of anything in life. So anyways, lesson 5, chords. And we'll talk about what's going to go on with the advanced lessons in another video. I'll tell you exactly how they're going to be set up. So here we go. Chords. Let's get into it. Thanks. Okay. Chord. We're going to be talking about 4 basic types of chords today. And actually what we're talking about are triads. Triad is a group of 3 notes. Chords can actually be groups of many notes, and they can have extensions and so on and so forth. So today we're going to be talking about triads, but they are chords. There's no difference between the two. It's just that triads are just 3-note chords. And for our purposes right now, we're just going to talk about the root position. And we'll do inversions towards the end of this lesson, and I'll show you exactly what those are. Okay, the 4 basic chords we're going to deal with are major, minor, diminished, and augmented. Those are your 4 basic types of triads. Not a whole lot of stuff to learn here, okay? And chords and triads are made up of thirds, okay? Any combination of a major and a minor third will give you a triad, okay? And what triad that is depends upon where you put the major third, where you put the minor. So let's go to C first, and let's go with a major third first and then a minor third. So we know a major third is 2 whole steps, and now we're going to go from this note and do a minor third. So from E, we know a minor third is a step and a half. So there is a triad. This happens to be a C major triad, okay? And the formula for a major triad is a major third and then a minor third. So there is your C major triad. Okay. Now, let's say that we put a minor third first and then a major third. Let's do that. We go C, a minor third is a step and a half, and a major third is 2 whole steps, 1, 2. Well, that happens to be a C minor chord, and this is in root position, okay? This is your root because we're using it to name the triad. Okay, so C, E flat, G. That's how it's spelled. You're using your white notes to spell the chord. Okay, this wouldn't be C, D sharp, G. Okay, because we need them to be thirds apart. And remember, thirds are just skipping notes, right? That's a third. These are seconds. And we're using the white notes to spell, okay? So that's how it would be spelled. You could also spell it as a B sharp major. But that becomes problematic because then you're going to use these notes to spell this. Okay, and if you use these, then that means this note is going to be B sharp, this note is going to be E double sharp, and this note is going to be F double sharp. So it gets a little bit more complicated when you try to spell this, not C, and spell it B sharp. And you won't see it that often because of that. But there are reasons that, and you'll see that when we get more advanced, you'll figure out why. But that's how that would be spelled. But for our purposes and for most purposes of music, you won't ever have to deal with that for the most part. You will if you start getting it in very advanced. You will You will see it more often, okay? So that's C major, that's C minor. So a major is a major third, minor third. A minor is a minor third, major third. That's the only difference between the two. Well, what other combinations of minor thirds and major thirds can you do? There's only two other possible combinations, a minor and a major and a major. So let's do that. So a minor third and another minor third. And what is the name of that? That would be a diminished chord. This is a C diminished chord in root position, or C diminished triad in root position. And the formula for that is a minor third and a minor third. And of course, what's left but a major third and a major third? So we go C, we go a major third. Major third's 2 whole steps. We go another major third, that's another 2 whole steps. And we have a C augmented chord, C augmented triad in root position, okay? And the formula for that is a major third and a major third. Now you know all your chords. Major chord is a major third, minor third. Minor chord is a minor third, major third. A diminished chord is a minor chord, minor third, minor third. And a augmented chord is a major third, major third. Okay? Those are all your triads, and these are all your triads in root position. Now we're just going to deal with this now. Just to make sure that you understand, I'm going to go to this note here, and I want you to make me either an F sharp or G flat major chord. Okay? So, if we're making a major chord, what's the formula? Well, that would be major third, minor third. So, we need to go a major third up from here. Whole step, and then we need a minor third. So that's a step and a half. Whole step, half. That is a either G flat major chord or F sharp major chord. Now, how would it be spelled? Well, if it's G flat major chord, it would be spelled G flat. And then we have to go up. Remember, we're skipping. We're basically skipping because we're using thirds to spell these notes. So it would be, if we use G, we skip over A. We have to use B to spell this. So we got G flat, B flat. If we use B, we have to skip over C. We use D, D flat. So G flat, B flat, D flat. That's how that would be spelled. Now, let's say if we called it an F sharp major chord. How would we spell that? Well, we got F sharp, skip over G, A sharp, skip over B, C sharp, F sharp, A sharp, C sharp. That's how we'd spell it if it was an F sharp major chord. Okay? Now, let's build some other chords. Let's build a diminished chord on G. Okay? We know a diminished chord is what? 2, say it, 2 minor thirds. Okay? So we go a step and a half, that's a minor third, and then we go another step and a half, that's another minor third. And this is a G diminished chord in root position, correct. And we would spell it as G, and then we have to go up a third, B flat, and then we have to go up a third, so dun, 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 and D flat. And that's how we would spell it. G, B flat, D flat. And that's a G diminished chord. Now let's make an augmented chord on this note. Okay? This is a C sharp or D flat. And we know an augmented chord consists of 2 major thirds. Okay? So we go a major third's 2 whole steps. There's the first note. Then we need to go another 2 whole steps. 1, 2. There is a either C sharp augmented triad, or that's correct. It could be called a D flat augmented triad or chord. Okay? Now, how would we spell it? Well, if it was C sharp augmented, it would be called C sharp, and then we'd skip E. We'd use E to spell F, not F. So this would be E sharp, and then we're going to skip over F and G. Now, this is where we have to use that G double sharp, okay, that we talked about in the last lesson. So it would be C sharp, E sharp, and G double sharp. Kind of a pain, isn't it? But you'll see why it's done that way, because when we start reading music and you actually are looking at key signatures, it makes for less of a mess on the manuscript paper. There's less little symbols that you have to read. And you'll see this in advanced lessons on why this makes so much more sense. Now quickly, let's also just name this as a D flat augmented. So this would be D flat. This would be F, because remember we're skipping a note, so that would be, so it'd be D flat, F, and then we go, and this would be A. So this would be D flat, F, and A. That's how it would be spelled. Okay? So that gives you an idea of basically how to form triad and how to all the formulas for forming the triad and how to make them. Now let's talk about inverting them. Okay, let's do some inversions. Now the first thing I want to let you know is this is always referred to as the root of the chord. In this particular case of what I'm showing you, this will be the third and this will be the fifth. Okay, and they're the third and the fifth because they are a third away and a fifth away from the root. Okay, so even if it's minor, this is a minor third away from the root, and this is still a perfect fifth away from the root. But if I went to an augmented, okay, this is a third away from the root, major third, and this is a augmented fifth away from C. Okay, and if I did a diminished, this would still be a minor third away from C, and this would be a diminished fifth, okay, away from C, in terms of the interval and what it's called, okay? So this is the root, third, fifth. If I take this C and I invert it, or pardon me, if I transpose it up an octave and we play that, that is still a C chord. It's a C chord in first inversion. And in this particular case, the way I'm playing this triad, the E becomes the lowest tone now, okay, or the third becomes the lowest tone. And if I invert it one more time and I take this E and transpose it up an octave and we play that, that's a C in second inversion. It's that simple, okay? And then if I do it one more time, we're right back to root position, but an octave higher, okay? See? Okay? And it's the same for if it was minor. It's the same if it was augmented. It's the same if it was diminished. Okay? It's first and second inversion. Root, first inversion, second inversion, back to root. Now, you can make a chord on any, with this lesson that you just watched, you can pick any note on the keyboard, you can make a chord on that note, you can spell it, and you can invert that chord into its various different inversions. Okay? And so that's chords, or that's actually triads. That isn't the full chord because we can keep extending this chord up. Okay, and if you've got a minor, you know, we can. There's many things that we'll be able to start doing with chords that we haven't got to yet, and that's where it gets fun. In the advanced lessons that are coming up, we're going to actually start doing some playing and practicing. Okay, and they'll be packaged lessons, usually in I think groups of 5 or 10. And at that point, we will start concentrating on various different areas. In other words, building up your hands, working on scales, working on chords, voicings. Also, continuing to build your education about theory, because knowing music inside out makes you really want to practice, and it makes it easier for you to learn and advance at a much faster rate. That's how I teach, and if you've gotten through these 5 lessons, I think you have a pretty firm foundation to build on for the upcoming lessons that we have. You understand some language, you're able to put together scales, you're able to basically read notes on the music staff, and you're able to form some scales and chords. So that's all you need to really start for us to really get going. Okay? Please Facebook me or leave comments and let me know if you're liking these videos. We love that, and it's helpful. It's helpful to me. Okay? So this has been Brian for PianoLessonsAdvice.com. Thanks so much, and stay tuned for the advanced lessons. Bye-bye.